Hola todos. Por fin es hora de ir a México. También es hora de practicar mi español porque es muy malo. Right?
Más o menos.
But for reals, hey everyone. It is actually time to go to Mexico. And it's true, my Spanish is terrible, but I will do the best I can do.
Haven't spoken in a few years, so gonna have to get the rust off.
So after listening to all the warnings and doing as much preparation as humanly possible, we pulled the camper out of my parents' garage with about this much room to spare, and we decided to head to Mexico. Hey everyone, we are back in the saddle. We're finally heading down south of the border. We should cross over in about 2 days, and we really appreciate y'all's support, and we're looking forward to sharing pictures and videos again. So
We're pretty excited to go down to Mexico.
Yay! So from northern Colorado, our plan was to take 2 days to drive to the border, spend one night on this side of the border, and then leave early in the morning on the third day to get into Mexico. On my many trips driving from Austin to Fort Collins, a few years ago, I discovered one of the best little RV parks. It's in Waylon Jennings' hometown of Littlefield, Texas, and it is called the Waylon Jennings Free RV Park. This is one of the only RV parks I have found that is free and has electric and water hookups. And wouldn't you know, when we pulled into the RV park, there was not a single camper there except for one, another tab from Princess Craft RV. We were in and out of the RV park so quick we didn't get to say hi, but it was pretty cool to be next to one of our fellow tabbers.
The next day, we woke up with a little over 400 miles standing between us and the Mexican border. Our first big obstacle was getting through the West Texas oil country, which is never really that fun to drive through. But once we got past that, we had a really beautiful stretch of road. I think it was Highway 163. One of the things that really surprised me about this stretch was all of the wind turbines. When we got to Eagle Pass, we decided to stock up on some groceries, some supplies, and fill up with gasoline before we got down into Mexico, where it was pretty expensive. When we got out of the car at the H-E-B parking lot to do some last-minute grocery shopping, we were treated to a pretty amazing sunset, and we kind of wish we would have been someplace a little bit more photogenic, but it was still a pretty good sight to see.
We woke up really early the next morning to cross the border as early as possible. That way we would have as much time as we could to get our paperwork and have a lot of daylight driving hours left. All right, it's border crossing day. You excited to go to Mexico?
I am. Just nervous about figuring out the border crossing, but I think after that's all figured out, then everything should be a little bit more at ease. After crossing the international bridge into Mexico, we pulled over at an inspection point, where an official poked his head in the camper for a few minutes and then waved us on our way. And just like that, we were in Mexico. We didn't even have to show anyone our passports.
Alright, we just passed the official border, and that was easy.
Not too bad.
Not too bad at all. He just kind of looked in the camper and said, okay, keep going. The next item on our agenda was getting our official paperwork, so we drove about 40 miles down the road to the Banjercito. When we arrived, we were able to get our immigration paper really quick, but then we had to wait in a nice long line to get our temporary import permit for the vehicle and trailer. I guess we could be upset that we had to wait 2 hours, or we could be glad that we only had to wait 2 hours. Well, we got our paperwork!
Yay.
Looks like they're gonna let us in. It only took 2 hours, but we got it, and now we can continue on with the rest of our trip.
Let's go that way.
Let's go!
During our first day of driving in Mexico, I realized a few things. The posted speed limit can sometimes be slow. I'm talking absurdly slow. But as a foreigner driving in Mexico, it's probably easier to just suck it up and drive 18 miles per hour versus risking getting pulled over. Second, in case you're tempted to break those slow speed limits, there are little, well, I guess they're not so little things, called topes. These speed bumps can look more like mountains sometimes, and can appear suddenly out of nowhere. And last, when driving on a 2-lane road with a shoulder, people tend to straddle the outside line, creating a middle lane that can be used for passing. It's actually a pretty efficient use of the road.
Believe it or not, after 5 hours of driving on our first day, Kendrick actually got us safely to our first location.
When we got to La Posada, it immediately felt like home. We had a safe place to leave the camper, we were greeted by a warm, welcoming staff, and we were surrounded by a bunch of like-minded individuals who enjoy climbing and being in the mountains. It's a pretty great place.
All in all, the border crossing went a lot smoother than anticipated, and we are really excited to see what Mexico has in store for us. Ahora vamos a explorar Mexico. Amor y luz. Hola, todos.